Hello everybody, Multi here, back with some more Lethal Company. In the first episode, we went to Experimentation, which is the first, simple tutorial moon of the game. And to be honest, I won't be going there much times for this Let's Play. I'll be going there at least once or one or two more times for the most part. Seasoned players tend to avoid that moon at all costs, but if you're a beginner player, then it's perfectly fine. But the thing is, it has such a low credit return as far as getting loot back. In fact, there's just compared to like much harder moons, there's just so little loot there, so it's just not worth it to go there. You're wasting a day basically as far as seasoned players are going. So today's episode, we're going to be going to a much more profitable moon. Or at least it would be if it wasn't if it wasn't rainy there. I don't want to go into like weather it's not that bad. And I have to demonstrate the weather patterns at some point. So, and I can handle a challenge, so I'll go ahead and do it. So we're going to be going to the second moon on our list here, which is Assurance. Assurance is one of the best moons in the game. It's by far the best of the easy moons. And the reason why it's considered one of the best moons is because, for such a low risk, it has quite a lot of loot in it. I don't remember the exact amount. I really need to research, the estimated the estimated amount of credits you could possibly get from each moon if you were to get, say, all the loot, for example, which I can't do on a solo run generally. But anyways, let's get a move on here. Let's get started here. So as you saw next to the name of the moon, in a parentheses, it said rainy. So weather patterns tend to be randomized across all the different moons after each day. Now, rainy weather pattern carries one significant risk, and that is random spots of quicksand throughout the moon. So here's Assurance. It's another desert moon, just like the Experimentation, which makes it kind of odd that it is raining here, but I guess it makes all the more sense that there would be quicksand as a result. So whenever you see dark spots like this, avoid them, because that is quicksand, and that's instant-kill if you sink too far in. You can back out of it if you find yourself getting caught in time. But in general, you just want to stay away and be careful. Now, the problem with the quicksand is that once it gets later in the day, you can't really see very well. So I'm going to keep the shovel out here and just have it back there in case I need it. Okay, so here we are. This is the interior. Once again, a facility. There's only two types of interiors, and we won't see the second one until the harder moons, basically, which actually cost money to go to. And hey! Here's the fire exit. Okay, so this is the thing I forgot to show on Experimentation, which I'm going to have to show in future playthroughs of that moon. But every moon has at least one fire exit, which is an alternative entrance into the facility. But like I said before, the layout of the facilities are completely randomized. So sometimes the fire exit will be simply right next to the main entrance, which makes it not very useful. The most useful fire exits are really far away from the main entrance, and they offer an alternative way to get out of the moon, out of the facility, or into the facility, which allows you to safely, avoid the hazards which are present in the facilities. So, but yeah, the reason why Assurance is such a valuable moon to visit, even for seasoned players, is the fact that it's the literal definition of low risk, high reward, basically. There's a lot of loot on this moon compared to Experimentation, and still very similar hazard rates, basically, with Experimentation, despite having more loot like that. Oh, so since we're close to the main entrance, I'm going to drop off the two pieces of loot that I do have so far. I'm going to drop these two off here and continue our way in here. So that fire exit's officially useless, but I will show you, if I have time, I'll show you where it is on the overworld. One of the key things you need to learn as early as possible is where the fire exits are on each moon, on the outer map, basically, not on the inner map. Okay, so unfortunately we're already in the labyrinth here, so things can get a little dangerous if we're not careful here. Need to keep I hate those so much. So those are the ambient noises. They have nothing to do with any of the hazards you will face. They're just kind of there, particularly if you're exploring the interior by yourself. These sounds will be less present when you have teammates with you. Okay, so I see the next room we're going to be exploring, so I'm going to leave at least this one piece of loot behind. I want to keep an eye on the time, and you can only see the time whenever you're outside. We have until midnight to get all this crap. It's already 1 p.m., so we gotta be very careful here. Alright, so we haven't seen anything quite yet. Now that loot bug is a very high probability of spawning. I didn't really explain it very well in the first episode. But basically the loot bug is exactly what you think it is, or the hoarding bug. One of those two names will both fit for it. Basically what it does is it gathers the scrap around the facility and it takes it to a designated area which it deems to be its nest. Now, as long as you stay away from the loot bug itself and its nest, you'll be perfectly fine. It will not attack you, so it's not that big. It's a low risk entity to deal with, but still kind of annoying basically because of what it does do. But that being said, I'm going to avoid it as best I can. But generally speaking, that's not the highest. That's not the enemy you're most likely to deal with here on Assurance. It's the enemy you're most likely to deal with on well, I mean, it's one of the high probability enemies on this moon, but there's one that's more likely to spawn here. Okay, I'm gonna make one more round through that giant room that we just saw with the okay. Yeah, I'm gonna make one more round through there. Oh, okay, so I see that right there. Okay, so as you can see, there's a steam up ahead here. I've been passing some of these red valves, you see? Like this one, for example. Sometimes, every now and then, there will be one of these valves will fail, and there will be a steam leak. You have to make your way to the valve and turn it in order to undo the leak, basically. And sometimes, actually, it really has nothing to do with the main game itself. It's not really anything to think about like in the main game itself. You just kind of do it just to get the steam cleared up, basically. Okay, wow. Of course, I leave behind the keys to the main entrance, and the very first door I encounter after doing that is going to be the frickin' locked door. Nice. What about this one? Okay. So gotta look in here real quick. Just take a quick look. Alright. So we haven't encountered any entities yet, which is surprising because we've basically explored the entire facility, aside from that one locked door up ahead, which there's probably a lot more behind it, but I think that's all the time we have for today, so I'm going to oh no! Oh no! Okay. That was a snare flea. So the snare flea will... The snare flea will latch onto a ceiling in a random spot of the facility and will wait for unsuspecting employees. And the moment you step under it, it will drop down and try to latch onto your face. And when that happens, it will slowly drain your health and eventually kill you, unless there's a few ways to get out of a snare flea's grasp once it gets you. You can, if you have a shovel with you, and by the way, when it latches on your face, you... Oh no! Oh no! Whew! That was a Leviathan. And, oh no, of course the quicksand's blocking my way here. Okay, we gotta go through here. That was an Earth Leviathan. Listen out for it when it starts rumbling. And as soon as it does, as soon as you see, like, the Earth scattering around you, drop everything you're holding and run away. Because immediately after that, it's going to... The Earth Leviathan will pop out of the ground and eat anything that's there, basically, including employees. So that's one of the outdoor hazards you have to deal with. And that was the giant red dots that we saw on the map as we were leaving experimentation last night. So, yeah. So I'm gonna have to deal with that as I make my second and last round to get the loot back to the ship. So that's, yeah, so we've seen one of the outdoor entities we have to deal with, but trust me, there's many more like it. I'm going to... Okay, that can happen too with the Easter eggs. Easter eggs have like a 40% chance of exploding whenever you drop them. And they can be useful in a minority of situations, but not most of the time. So you have to be careful whenever you do drop them. So drop them as little, like, if you can limit the amount of times you drop it, definitely do that, because once it explodes, it's basically lost scrap. And not only that, but you also take damage from the explosion. But it can be useful in a minority of situations, but the problem is with it being an uncontrolled probability whether it explode or not, it's not very useful as a weapon, basically. But essentially, you can use it to protect yourself if there's something about to attack you, but I just wouldn't take the risk, basically. A lot of players tend to avoid Easter eggs, actually, because of that reason. Okay, so all we got is just these things, alright. Okay, well, I managed to, well, we're just gonna make this last trip back, and chances are I'll run into the Leviathan again. But with the Leviathan, the thing is, you just gotta look out, you gotta listen out for it, and once you see the Earth start to unsettle, just run away. Or the debris flying, yeah, you just immediately run away. Drop it, and drop things if you need to. As you can see next to my my stamina meter there is a weight shown there. That is the weight of the items that I'm holding, and the more weight I'm carrying, the more it's going to slow me down. So what you can do if you need to run away quickly is you can drop what you're holding by pressing, you know, rapidly tapping G. Okay, I'd be careful here because it might be. Okay, I don't see anything. I think we're good. Okay. So, what you just heard there was an eyeless dog. Eyeless dogs are another outdoor entity in the game, and they are very, very dangerous. Did I mention this is a horror game, by the way? Yeah, we didn't see nothing in the first episode. Experimentation was nothing. Okay, 155 out of 500, not bad. So yeah, 500. Compare that to the 150 potential credits that Experimentation had. Yeah, Assurance is still only cares about 1/4 of the amount of loot you could be getting from the hardest moons, but that is still pretty good for an easy mood. 500 loot, and yeah, we managed to escape with everything we have, so that's good. But yeah, I came very close twice to dying to that eyeless dog, and then, as you can see there, I stepped into the quicksand for a second, and that almost killed me. And so stepping out, he almost got me killed by the eyeless dog. So yeah. Things got a little more dangerous in the second day. We still made out with our lives and all the loot that we have, and that's what matters. So, join me next time for the third and final day of this particular quota rotation. And, yeah, join me next time where we go to a slightly more dangerous moon with significantly more, well, I don't know about significantly, just more risk than Assurance, but with not exactly the loot to justify it. Yeah, be prepared for that, folks, and I'll see y'all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.